In today's episode, Russian jets enter Finnish airspace and Finnish Hornets intercept them. Finnish UN troops in Lebanon fire warning rounds to disperse aggressive crowds. And Finland delivers heavy armaments to Ukraine. Hello, and welcome to another Finnish Gear Reviews video. Today, we'll be taking a look at what the Finnish Defense Forces were up to in the month of May of 2025. We're going to start off with one of the big incidents, which was that we had two Russian jets that entered Finnish airspace outside of Porvoo or Borgo, and Finnish Hornets intercepted them. At the moment, there is no additional information about the incident, but the border guard is investigating it. The authorities have also not made any type of statements about the interception, but the locals that live close to the airfield heard the Hornets breaking the sound barrier, so they were hauling ass to Porvoo to make sure that those Russians were getting pushed out back into international airspace. One thing to note is that Porvoo is the home to the Kilpilahti or Sköldvik oil refinery harbor. And if you remember back in, I believe, February, when the Russian Shadow Fleet tanker was taken over by Finnish authorities, it was parked outside that harbor. More incidents relating to the Air Force. There was a Finnish Hornet that unfortunately crashed in Rovaniemi on the 7th of May. The pilot thankfully was able to eject safely, and he had some minor injuries. The investigation is ongoing. Finnish peacekeepers in southern Lebanon were forced to fire warning shots to disperse some angry crowds. When they did that, the crowd opened fire on them. At that point, the peacekeepers used some support weapons. I'm going to assume that that's a 12.7 millimeter machine gun in the situation. And no injuries to the Finnish peacekeepers, but a few of the vehicles were damaged. Other than that, we've had some smaller incidents in Finland. We've had some troops with slight hearing damage after war games in northern Star 25. And we've had two vehicles that drove off the road and one in a car crash. Thankfully, no injuries in the traffic accidents. In procurement news, the European Defense Fund is awarding the Finnish Patria their AI WASP Artificial Intelligence Warfare Adaptive Swarm platform with 45 million euros for the development. What does it do? I don't know. It's some AI stuff communicating with each other and makes everything more lethal. It's good stuff, I think. And the first Pohjanmaa class corvette has been launched in Rauma. This one will be commissioned in 2027, while all four corvettes will be commissioned by the end of 2029. In innovation news, the logistics department of the military held an event for 40 companies in the unmanned vehicles system industry in order to map out what capabilities they have to offer to the Finnish Defense Forces. And they were 150 people in attendance at that seminar. In exercises, the Air Force held an exercise called Ilmamuuri 25, which roughly translates into Air Wall 25, where private companies were contracted and participated with the Air Force to construct modular, hardened shelters for equipment and personnel. These shelters are now in the stock of the Finnish Defense Forces and can be deployed whenever needed. The Navy held an exercise called Narrow Waters 25 with 2,700 soldiers and some foreign allies as well. And related to the Russian jets that were outside of Porvoo, this exercise was held partially in Porvoo, right by that oil refinery. And in Army news, the Karelian Sword 25 has been concluded. In miscellaneous news, the proposal to raise the reserve age to 65 years advances to a stage where different stakeholders are able to give their opinions and proposals on how to actually do that. By raising it to 65 years, our total reserve force will top 1 million soldiers. By raising the reserve age, not only does it increase our reserve force, obviously when you are at 65, there are limited amount of good that you can do on an actual battlefield, but we still have people who have special trainings, staff officers and such that can definitely still contribute to defense of the country. In politics, most political parties are in support of some sort of gender-neutral military service, with only the True Finn Party and the Christian Democrats opposing it. And by moving into a gender-neutral military service, we're able to make sure that we have a big enough and strong enough reserve in the future as our population declines. In cooperation news, Finland is delivering heavy armaments produced by domestic producers in Finland to Ukraine, using money from frozen Russian funds by using the European Defense Fund. The amount is approximately 90 million euros. The Nordic countries of Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, those are the Nordic countries, are deepening their cooperation with the Air Force so that we are able to seamlessly function as one fighting force. The idea is that the Air Force is able to deploy as one force even prior to Article 5 being triggered. The command is placed in Norway and led by Colonel Carl Fredrik Edström from Sweden, and he has 13 officers in total. And related to this cooperation, Air Forces of Finland, Sweden, and Denmark had an exercise called Nordic Combat Enhanced Training, which trained on defending Sweden from an invasion. And in additional Air Force cooperation news, a Finnish officer has participated for the first time in a NATO AWACS mission. Congratulations to him. And that concludes this month's recap. That's what the Finnish Defense Forces were up to in the month of May of 2025. If you enjoyed this recap, you can click over here. I'll have some of the previous month's recaps listed there so you can see what they've been up to all year. And over here, you'll find some other videos from this channel. Again, I appreciate you sticking around until the end. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. You can leave a like on this video and a comment, and of course, share this video with anyone who for some strange reason could be interested in what the Finnish Defense Forces were up to. Thank you for watching.